During Pride this year, I was looking for something to wear. And in my closet, I found this large Love Simon t-shirt that I had forgotten about. So being a gay man, I compulsively made it more gay. But wearing the shirt made me remember about this big 2018 film. It was originally marketed as one of the first big studio films featuring a gay character. Love Simon was a coming out film for the masses, and when it came out, I loved it. But now that time has passed, it got me thinking, I should really revisit this movie. So I remember when this movie came out and I was kind of obsessed with it. I think I saw it twice in the movie theater. And it's not because it was some groundbreaking piece of cinema, but because it was a gay perspective on a common story that people usually always get, whether it be classic coming-of-age films like The Breakfast Club or whatever, just go down the list. So I just loved that. I love to see this bizarro world where it was actually, what I felt like growing up. Now, if you don't know what Love Simon's about, it's a simple story about a character named Simon who's hiding the secret that he's gay, while he's also talking online to another character who we don't know, and he doesn't know, that is gay and came out kind of on this forum that the school also reads. And he's also trying to hide the fact that he's gay in general, and it's a simple story. It sounds complicated, but when this first came out, I know that it was by 20th Century Fox, and they were marketing it as like the first big coming-of-age movie with a gay character in the lead. And I haven't seen it yet, but I have heard the movie Making Love, which also was released by the same studio, was groundbreaking at the time. I think what's really powerful about the story is that it's told a lot through screens, and for me, when filmmakers show screens, it immediately takes me out of the movie, and it might be because so much of our lives are on these screens, and to see it there where you think you're going to escape from it. But I do think that this film does a great job making it feel seamless and a part of the flow of the film without taking you out, because you immediately have those shot reverse shots or those text bubbles. I mean, these are the sort of things that you have to deal with when you're dealing with showing digital screens in the movies nowadays. There is, not giving the story away, but throughout there's this giant mystery about who Simon is talking to throughout the course of the movie, because we don't find out until the very end. And they do a good job in hiding who that is without making you feel like they pulled the rug from underneath you. There is, enough people have criticized the way that they do it. It does feel like they're pulling the wool or the rug from underneath them, but I felt like it was earned, and it was justifiable, the reason that they kind of trick you. Overall, there's a lot of red herrings, and they do a good job keeping you intrigued. I mean, the casting is really good. Nick Robinson does a great job at just playing an average, everyday guy. I mean, I really kind of saw myself in that character. There's even a jacket that he wears that I owned, that I saw him wear, that was really interesting and just further made me, deeper into the story. He doesn't represent every gay person, but the film does a good job also having other gay characters that might not be as, considered like masculine or whatever it may be. So there are some side supporting characters that usually can come out, feeling kind of cringy and kind of, it's not really working. But I think in this film, the side characters totally do work. There's this great standout performance by the principal, and the actor, his name escapes me at this moment, but I felt like he was really a good part of it. And there's also the theater teacher does a great job in giving these great one-liners, and I think it's written well and it's performed well because the characters don't feel too outlandish. They feel like they're very much a part of the story, but they're very much eccentric inside the world. But like right off the bat, I mean, so like for example, like the dad, he comes in on Simon as he's looking something, and he makes a joke about him looking up girls on the computer. It's just this wonderful thing of, like, obviously that happens a lot. Like, parents usually default to believing or thinking that their child is heterosexual. And there's a really funny scene that happens with the dad involving the app Grinder that was funny. There's a lot of funny moments. And later in the film, there's a wonderful scene between Jennifer Garner, who plays the mother of Simon. This is also a movie that created a spin-off series, and it was called Love, Victor. And I originally started liking Love, Victor, but it became more and more about the heterosexual characters in that show, and it became less and less about Victor and his story. And I just, I didn't really like as it went on. I think the better show that came out after this is probably Heartstopper, which does a fantastic job, showing different characters from the whole spectrum of the LGBT community. It's a wonderful coming out scene that happens in this film, even though the whole film is about him coming out slowly. But the first person that he decides to come out to, I think it's just a very beautiful, well done scene. And it's everything that you would hope for as a gay person, how somebody would react when you would tell them this. It's a very tender scene, and it's just really special. And it's done in this very kind of nuanced, quiet way. The scene really stood out to me, especially when I watched it again. And overall, the film does have a very simple plot, but that's the sort of thing about high school, is that these small moments that you feel like is the end of the world, that don't feel like big events objectively, when you're in it, it feels enormous. Film does an excellent job towing the line between, a Hallmark movie and something, dead serious and sad. And it plays around a lot in that world. And it's a difficult line to toe, because you can easily fall one way or the other. But I think it does successfully arrive at this hybrid of feeling kind of, overly sentimental, but not feeling that way, if that makes any sense. The set design is really well done. I mean, the room that Simon has is really cozy and warm, and it's a room that you wish you had. And I just want to mention the soundtrack in this film. Was produced by Jack Antonoff, and just the decisions they did for this, like Waterloo Sunsets, and just a great soundtrack. I remember not really caring about this movie when the trailers were out. I didn't really care, because usually you get the most authentic stories in the indie perspective, because you're not dealing with a lot of money on the line, so filmmakers usually can take more risks. So usually when studio stuff comes out, it's going to be really sanitized. A good example of that was like when I watched In and Out, where it's not a bad movie, but it felt kind of a little less gay than you would hope for. But here they did a great job in not holding back, but actually, showing something that was true and authentic. And, I think it's just an easy crowd-pleasing movie, and it was great to see that in the theater at the time. This film certainly probably had a bigger impact on the younger generation growing up, and maybe it will going forward. And yeah, it's a good movie. And sometimes when you watch a movie and there's a lot of hype around it and it feels great in the moment, but then you go back and watch it and it didn't really work. No, this film still does work, and it certainly doesn't have that energy that I had when I first saw it, but it still works as a good movie, and a movie that I think will be helpful for future LGBT generations to come.